Am I the a-hole? I always make cakes for my niece's birthday. This year, I stayed at home. Since my 8-year-old niece was born, I've always been asked to make a cake for her birthday. The first year went well, but in the second year, something happened that started a tradition that I hate, the smash cake in the face thing. The first time it was even funny, I can't deny that. The timing was perfect, and we had plenty of other food too. No one was hurt. The cake landed on my sister's face, and it was just a plain blue cake with the words "Happy Birthday" written on it. The third year, my sister asked me for a Winnie the Pooh themed cake. I didn't think much of it and agreed again. I spent hours on this cake and made it 3 times because the first 2 versions were terrible and I couldn't find a way to save them. I'm not a professional. I just like it. When I brought this cake, I was proud of myself. An hour later, my niece's face ended up in the cake. I tried to laugh with the others, but I felt frustrated. No one even tried it, and then the cake was thrown away. It was the same over the next few years. Each time, my sister promised me that this time we would eat the cake and not continue this tradition. Then I would bring the cake, she would take a picture, stick my niece's head, or hers, in the cake, and throw it out while everyone else laughed. This year, I had had enough. I said I wouldn't make a cake. My sister tried to convince me for weeks, sending me pictures with ideas for this year, but I kept saying no. I finally got mad and said that not only was I not making the cake, but I wasn't going to the birthday party either. I gave my niece a present a month before her birthday, and every time someone asked me, I said I'm not going. Well, they still didn't believe me. The party was on March 1st, and from what I know from my cousin, everyone was waiting for me for 2 hours. They tried to contact me several times, but my phone was turned off. My niece started crying at one point, and my sister's husband finally ran to the store and bought the first cake he saw. But everyone was irritated, and instead of focusing on the party, they were discussing my absence. They also went home earlier than usual. To be honest, I feel a little bad, and I'm no longer sure if I did the right thing. My sister always pays me for the cakes, and I really like my niece. But on the other hand, it annoys me to see my work and food go to waste like that. Now for the top comments. Why in holy heck can't they buy a cheap store cake for their antics and eat/enjoy the cake you made with love? Not the a-hole. It takes OP's time, creativity, skill, etc., not even including the financial costs of baking and decorating cakes, clean up, and they don't even eat it? They con OP every year, only to turn each requested effort into a joke, making OP feel bad that they're hurt and upset. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense outside of control, abuse, and scapegoating. Not the a-hole OP. It's about time you created some boundaries for yourself. Your family are idiots at the very least. Yeah, they don't even eat it too? I'm not the OP and I'm insulted by that waste. Go buy the cheapest crappies cake at Walmart if you want to do that. Don't have someone waste their time and money making you a custom cake. How awful. Not the a-hole, but those people sure are. It's beyond cruel to shove a child's face in a cake for the amusement of the adults. Truly sadistic. Same with weddings. It's disgusting. To stand up and make a vow to love, honor, and cherish someone, and then start a food fight and smear food in their face. It's not cute. It's not funny. It's not respectful, loving, honoring, or cherishing. I've had 3 weddings, married twice, and I made it very clear on my weddings, anniversaries, birthdays, etc. that I have a zero tolerance policy for cake in the face. I didn't do it to my kids either. I was at a family friend's wedding, and I remember the bride telling us all how she did not want cake in her face. The groom behaved himself, but the look of fear in her eyes the entire cake cutting was very telling of the relationship dynamics. Edit. No, I didn't take the money this time. No cake, no money. But yes, my sister only paid for the ingredients. No, the cake wasn't eaten before or after it was destroyed. Literally everything went in the trash, which is what hurts me the most. I hate wasting food like this. No, my niece doesn't hate this tradition. She never cried. She always laughed when it happened. No, from what I know, they didn't ruin the cake they bought because they weren't in the mood. Next story. Am I the a-hole for moving in with my grandparents, the same day my parents announced my mom's pregnant again. My parents had me, 17 male, when they were 19, mom, and 20, dad. We lived with my mom's parents until I was 6. Then my parents moved the 3 of us into another house and told me the reason was because they were having another kid. In the almost 11 years since then, my parents have had 5 more kids. My parents don't know how to be parents, and my siblings don't know how to act because of that. They spit, mess with people's food by slobbering all over it, or putting it in their own mouths and spitting it back out. They leave food out everywhere to rot, and they'll throw food on the floor. Like if my mom gets frozen pizzas for dinner and there's something my siblings don't like on it, the topping goes on the floor. They have tantrums in public and break stuff all the time. With my youngest sibling, my parents put her in my room when she was a baby instead of theirs, and I had to wake up with her at night and deal with the dirty diapers and everything. It was stressful. Plus, my parents are always trying to make me babysit. So last week when my mom and dad announced that my mom was pregnant again, I called my grandparents so fast my head was probably spinning, and I begged them to let me come live with them because I couldn't deal with it anymore. They were furious when they heard my mom was expecting another kid and said yes straight away. I packed up my essentials, including my passport and other papers, and left. My parents are mad because they don't have help and because I didn't talk to them about it. My grandparents dealt with my parents and their anger, but my parents called the cops on my grandparents twice already, and they're threatening to sue them now. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, and for reference, you're 17. The police aren't going to do anything, so just ignore your parents. They have no solid ground to stand on. At 17, you're legally able to decide where you live in most places, and the cops aren't gonna drag you back into free babysitter hell. OP, you can report your parents to CPS if you like. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Let them threaten to sue. I mean, sue for what exactly? Removal of the unpaid nanny service? Getting a life and an education? They've called the cops twice, and obviously that didn't work, so now they're trying another tactic. Newsflash, that won't work either. No court is ever going to look at this. Tell them that if they don't back off, you'll report them for child neglect. The way your siblings are being reared is certainly not good parenting. Report them anyways. The siblings need help. The parents will be forced to take parenting classes. Not the a-hole. Coming from a mom of 4 kids, 1 teenager and 3 adults. Your parents are lazy, disrespectful parents to lazy, disrespectful kids. You leaving at 17 is a good thing. Their children are not your problem. Help your grandparents while living there. Keep a clean house and keep good grades. That advice is if CPS or cops try and say anything. That is to cover your butt. Be respectful to them and help them. Go live your life. Always protect yourself and your grandparents. You got this. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not making any efforts to get my kids to like my mother's boyfriend? My father passed away when I, 36 male, was 20, and my mother didn't cope well. She got better with time, but she didn't attempt to pursue another relationship until 15 years later. She has been dating Jim for 2 years. I don't hate Jim, but I don't like him either. He drinks a lot. My mother has had to cancel on us several times because he was drunk, has made several offensive jokes to my brother, 43 male, that I didn't appreciate, and is overall a pretty and pleasant person to be around. Still, he seems to genuinely love my mother and makes her happy, so my brother and I don't interfere. One problem I do have with the relationship is that my mother has been trying to get my children, 9 male and 5 female, to form a grandparent bond with Jim. He's also been trying to take on a grandfather role, which neither my wife, 34 female, nor I want for the kids. They don't try to push boundaries too much, but we've had some minor arguments in the past. Anyway, my daughter had her first ever dance recital last December. There was a limit of 4 guests per child. The kids usually ask us to invite one of their grandparents to events like this, but my mother was out of town. I didn't even ask her, and my in-laws were busy. Instead, my daughter invited my brother to join me, my wife, and our son. My mother and Jim came to visit us during the weekend, and she saw pictures from the recital for the first time in a photo album. She asked why my brother was there and not her, and I reminded her she was traveling at the time. She said, well, Jim was in town. I'll be honest, we didn't even think of inviting Jim back in December, and neither did my kids. I told my mother that it was my daughter who chose to invite her uncle, and we respected that. Then Jim turned to my daughter and told her that she could invite him next time Grandma wasn't around. My wife chimed in and said she could invite whoever she wanted. After they left, my mother called me. She said she was upset that we weren't making any efforts to welcome Jim into the family, and that we were depriving our children of a wonderful grandfather. I told her that we would never force our children to like him or spend time with him if they didn't want to, and that wasn't up for discussion. We ended up having an argument over this before I hung up on her. I spoke with a few family members yesterday who think I'm being too harsh on Jim. So, am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. I hate when adults try to force kids into having any sort of relationship with other adults. Leave the kids alone. This is how you foster resentful feelings in children and teach them that their feelings and decisions don't matter. My wife had similar problems with some of her family members growing up, so we try to be extra mindful of that. We teach the kids to be kind regardless, but also that they can choose whether they want to be close to someone or not. At the end of the day, you don't have a father-son relationship with Jim, so it's insane to expect a grandfather-grandchild relationship with your kids. Not the a-hole. Honestly, I'd be more blunt with your mom and stop telling her it was your daughter's choice. Tell your mom that you can't trust an alcoholic and you only put up with him because of your mom. If she's not around to wrangle him, then he's not invited. Period. You don't trust him around the kids. I'm not sure he's reached alcoholic levels of drunk, but it's true that I don't trust him. I will say he's never been drunk around the kids. When drinking interferes with your life, that's alcoholism. His drinking has caused him to cancel plans many times. That's interference. I'm not saying he doesn't have a problem. I do have to recognize I'm biased as I don't drink and I used to be a bartender, so I've seen a lot worse than Jim. But I wouldn't trust the guy to be alone with a plant. Next story. Would I be the a-hole if I didn't let my daughter go to her friend's 16th birthday party? Context. My daughter is 15 and got invited to go out for dinner, really lunch, at a Korean barbecue joint near us for her friend's 16th. My daughter has been dying to try it, and her friend is renting out a karaoke room. On the invitation, however, it says all the kids invited are required to bring $80 to pay for their own food and give back to the girl's mom for the karaoke room costs. I think this is BS. If you invite someone, you should at least offer to pay. At least that's how I was raised. And Korean barbecue? That stuff's not cheap. I don't know about other places, but the restaurant my daughter was invited to charges like $60 for one meal, which is expensive. Expecting these 15 to 16-year-olds to bring that much money is insane. The food itself is enough, but what really doesn't make sense to me is why my kid is expected to pay for the karaoke room when that wasn't even her idea. This is turning into a rant, so to cut things short, I usually wouldn't have an issue just giving her the money, even if it was annoying. But my husband got laid off recently, and money is tight. I really don't know if I'll be able to afford to give her $80 for food. That, in all honesty, I don't think she'll even like. My daughter is very picky, so I really don't think she'll like anything other than maybe the meat. Anyway, I feel really bad telling her she can't go, especially since she's been struggling to make friends lately and is finally being invited to something. The guilt I'd feel not letting her go is tremendous, but I really can barely afford it right now. I'm sure I could make it work if I tried, but it would just be so much easier to have her tell her friend she's busy or something. Anyway, would I be the a-hole if I don't let her? You would be the a-hole if you don't handle this conversation well. Explain that money is tight and that you don't love the way the invitation was handled, but do not discourage her because of things she might not like to eat. You should not pre-filter activities that she might not enjoy. That is part of growing up. She has to go and experience these things for herself. Maybe meet in the middle? and explain that you will need some extra help with chores and stuff to help offset the cost, like an advance on some future allowance money. You are not the a-hole for thinking this is a fairly rude invite for teenagers, essentially putting all the parents in a tough spot. The venue should 100% be covered, if not the food too. You should not pre-filter activities that she might not enjoy. That is part of growing up. She has to go and experience these things for herself. This is so important. Finances are a valid reason for not allowing her to go, but not expecting her to like it isn't fair to her. Maybe she won't. Maybe she'll discover more she'll eat, and it'll be a start to being a little less picky. Either way, it's up to her if she wants to try it, and up to you whether you can afford it. If you are not allowing her to go, you're the a-hole. If you are not giving her $80 so that she can go, but you are willing to let her pay for herself and help her figure out how to do work to earn it, if she doesn't already have $80 saved, no a-holes here. Edit. It's only been less than an hour, but thank you for the responses. Honestly, you all have opened my eyes a lot to ways to go about this that I didn't even consider. I really do like the idea of her getting her own money to pay, but the party is in a week and she does not have a job. She doesn't really have any way to make money. That doesn't involve chores, but either way, that would come out of my pockets. And before you twist this sentence, I have no problem giving her allowance. It's just the current situation makes it hard. She's also a big spender, which she got from me, haha, so she doesn't really have money saved up. Don't worry, I have a savings account for her. I also appreciate your criticisms about how I said she probably won't like it. I guess I didn't realize Korean barbecue was mostly meat. I thought it would have more traditional Korean food, which was a judgment error on my part. I actually am happy she wants to expand her tastes, so I understand that the way I worded it was iffy. If and when I reach a consensus, I will update you all, so thank you for your comments and suggestions. They help a ton. Last story. Am I the a-hole for cutting off my brother after he told my boyfriend it's okay to cheat on me? I, 23 female, recently had a falling out with my brother, 29 male, after finding out something awful he said about me. Apparently, he told my boyfriend, 24 male, that it's totally fine to cheat on me, as long as he comes back and loves me. I was completely shocked and disgusted when I found out. My brother and fiancé stayed out for drinks whilst I took my parents home in a taxi. That night, while they were both drinking, he also told my fiancé that I am lazy because I'm in between jobs at the moment and that I should be losing weight in the gym. He's always had this superiority complex and talks down to me like I'm an immature little girl, even though he still lives at home, albeit with his own business, while I moved out at 18 to get a degree and have lived and worked 3 hours away since. I've put up with his insults and teasing as a big brother for years, but this crossed the line. When I told my parents what was said that night out of desperation for comfort, it seems that he is denying it and is mad that my fiancé told me. Now my parents are furious at my fiancé for telling me, which I think was the right thing to do, and want me to forgive and forget it all because I make my brother feel awkward when I go home to visit. I feel completely alone in this, as it seems like somehow this has all been turned around on me, and now my fiancé and I are the bad guys. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to tolerate my brother's behavior and cutting him off? Not the a-hole. Your brother is a toxic twat. And yes, the parents are a-holes too. This, and the fact that your parents are okay with what he said and angry the fiancé told you, is a problem. OP, your parents are also an issue. It may be time to go low contact them. Because let's be honest, they allow your brother to treat you that way. None of them need to come to your wedding, OP. Nope, your family are all a-holes though, which sucks for you. I'm happy for you that you found a fiancé who is honest with you.